Before the first drum beat, before the first word was spoken by human lips, there were the realms. Realms older than the mountains. Realms that breathed before breath was known. Realms that shape not only what we see, but everything we feel, fear, and follow. In African cosmology, the world is not just physical, it is layered, sacred, alive. This is not a belief system, it is a living memory passed down through firelight and whisper, through griots and grandmothers, through the trembling hands of diviners and the painted faces of masked dancers. These are not just stories, they are maps. Maps of the soul, of time, of destiny. For thousands of years, African civilizations, Yoruba, Igbo, Congo, Dinka, Zulu, Dogon, and more, have understood that reality is not flat. It stretches upward into the heavens, downward into the shadows, and around us in the everyday. What we call life is only one part of a much larger cosmic fabric. To truly understand who we are, we must understand where we move. And in African thought, we do not move through time alone. We move through realms, 3 great worlds, 3 dimensions of spirit. Above us, the celestial realm, home of the gods and the keepers of fate. Around us, the earthly realm, where spirits live in trees, rivers, wind, and the gaze of our ancestors. Below us, the underworld, the deep place of transition, where the dead are not silent and forgotten powers still stir. These 3 are not separate, they speak, they echo. They reflect one another like mirrors in a darkened hall. So today we open the gates to the unseen. We walk the path of the ancient ones. We listen to the gods. We remember the ancestors. We honor the spirits. Because in African cosmology, to know your world, you must first know which world you're walking in. The journey into the celestial realm begins as the firelight dims and we lift our gaze to the limitless sky. In this exalted space, the realm of supreme beings and elemental gods, creation's first stirrings unfolded. Here, in the Anadolu tapestry of African spiritual geography, pure and radiant forces reside beyond human reach, shaping existence through rhythms of sun, thunder, wind, and rain. To understand this realm, we must first meet its sovereigns. Olodumare of the Yoruba, Nyame of the Akan, Chukwu of the Igbo, and Nzambi Mpungu of the Congo, names that embody omnipotence in their cultures. These beings are revered as the progenitors of cosmic law, fashioning existence's structure with luminous authority and guiding the moral order of the world below. Olodumare, often called the one from whom all good things flow, reigns through Orisa emissaries, each carrying aspects of that supreme force. Nyame in Akan belief watches over humanity from above, dispensing justice and blessing through golden light and rainfall. Among the Igbo, Chukwu is both the creator and ultimate judge, offering gifts or withholding bounty according to balance with the earth. In Congo cosmology, Nzambi Mpungu manifests divine agency, often in partnership with Nzambichi, speaking through thunderclaps or whispering across rivers. Though their names differ, these supreme beings share one sacred terrain. The skies beyond our sight, but never beyond their influence. Below them, yet within this celestial strata, gathered the elemental deities, spirits born of nature's most dramatic domains. Sango, the Yoruba god of thunder and lightning, is the booming voice of justice reverberating through storm clouds. He commands respect with strike and clap, claiming the power to overthrow tyranny through a single bolt of light. In ancient Egyptian cosmology, Ra sails across the sky in his solar bark, daily renewing life's possibility as he is born with dawn and buried at dusk. Wind gods spun clouds, and rain deities birthed the waters that moistened the earth's soil. The heavens in African cosmology were not empty but alive with pulse, pattern, and presence. Rituals honoring these beings must always aim skyward. Attire for such sacred communication commonly includes white garments, symbolizing light and purity, colors believed to attract divine attention. Drums and flutes mirror the troches of sky winds. Dances evoke the ebb and flow of storm currents. Incense aromas spiral heavenward, sacred smoke weaving human prayers into divine ears. Prayer and praise recur at sunrise and twilight, moments when the boundaries between sky and earth thin. In these acts we glimpse cosmic devotion, a world not distant from humans but in lonely dialogue with us, expecting clarity, righteousness, and tribute in return. For African communities attuned to this realm, Divine decrees descend, not as commandments written on parchment, but as visions, dreams, or natural phenomena rippling with spiritual meaning. A lightning flash shaping a tree becomes a mandate to the taboo breaker to repent. A thunderclap at midday can signal the worthiness or error of leaders. In Yoruba tradition, those chosen to become Babalawo may receive encapsulated wisdom delivered in trance dreams, birthing clarity to decode celestial will. Elders interpret the chirp of birds, the direction of winds, and the flight of animals, each pattern read as a sign. Some oracles positioned at crossroads hold keys to deciphering messages from gods who speak through wind currents or river surges. Sky worship embodies more than ritual. It is a covenant. Through ceremonies, communities renew their pledge to align their choices with celestial rhythms and cosmic justice. Each celebration reminds participants that heaven, not earthly power, holds the ultimate judgment. When leaders rule with corruption, the sky speaks through drought. When communities remain unjust, famine whispers moral failure. These heavens are not silent watchers, but responsive forces of moral ecology. Understanding this realm teaches viewers that ultimate authority in African cosmology, while centered in sky gods, demands humility, reciprocity, and integrity from those who seek divine favor. By dwelling in this high, radiant dimension, practitioners find less divine distance and more cosmic intimacy. In sacred times, priests and priestesses clad in skylight robes reenact creation myths, re-establishing connections between humanity and cosmic origin. The circle of dancers becomes a mirror of star constellations, recalling humanity's kinship with celestial architecture. Light, wind, and cloud become icons of divine presence, stirring belief not in abstract divinity, but in living, breathing cosmic courts. In the celestial realm, humans acknowledge they are part of a larger cosmic order, a play of forces written in starlight and reverberating in thunder. Sacredness is not defined by confinement or punishment, but by participation in a divine ballet of justice, creation, and transformation. To engage this realm is to learn to move as the heavens move, to speak words that uplift, to act in ways that honor cosmic harmony. For viewers, this vision reframes power and guidance as cosmic collaboration, that every sunrise carries a chance to align with the sky's intention, every storm offers chance to right balance, and every prayer can ascend into a sacred conversation with forces older than time. The world beneath our feet pulses with sacred energy, its soil alive with whispered presence. In the earthly realm, humans coexist with nature's spirits and living ancestors, each breath and step woven into a tapestry of reciprocity and reverence. Water is deity, earth is temple, trees are altars. Rivers like oceans weave through human and spirit worlds alike, reflecting care, emotion, and life's unfolding flow. Fertility and wealth manifest through Aje, the energy of markets and lineage, while mountain spirits, Nyanga, stand sentinel over valleys and villages. The land itself, from rock to root, is sacred, harboring energies that expect nothing less than reverent acknowledgement. Ancestors walk within this realm, not as echoes of the past, but as advisors, protectors, and co-creators. Every family lineage hosts unseen elders who speak in dreams, appear in visions, and inspire choices. They teach through signs, a rustle in the wind, the appearance of an owl, the sudden bloom of a particular flower. Ancestors guide the living toward moral clarity, healing, and balance. When decisions weigh heavy, bloodline spirits deliver insight. When conflicts arise, they offer protection. Through intergenerational connection, the living and the dead collaborate to maintain harmony between individual purpose and communal destiny. Communities mark this kinship with sacred spaces, groves veiled in vines, riverside altars glistening with libations, trees carved with ancestral symbols. Shrines can be as humble as pebbles arranged at a crossroads, or as grand as sculpted carvings in hidden temple groves. In these spaces, people pour water, palm oil, honey, or beer as offerings. They leave cloth, kola nuts, or small tokens as declarations of gratitude, asking for fertility, prosperity, or protection. These offerings are not superstition, but agreements, contracts of cooperation rooted in mutual respect, guaranteeing bounty to those who honor the unseen. Reciprocity lies at the heart of earthly cohabitation. The land gives life, food, water, shelter, on the expectation that humans care for its spirit. Villagers plant trees in sacred groves, care for shrine sites, and perform seasonal rites to ensure renewal. Neglect is not benign. Unfulfilled obligations may cause famine, illness, or spiritual depletion. When a grove is cleared, the area may fall silent, crops may fail, water sources may dry up, not because of human economics, but cosmic imbalance. In a world where spirit and nature are partners, harmony becomes moral responsibility. Festivals and masquerades are the grand moments of communion between realms. Dancers don masks that embody the energy of ancestors and nature spirits. Each movement channels a presence older than written history. Drums echo the heartbeat of the earth. Costumes ripple like leaves caught in spiritual breeze. At these events, the veil lifts, and the living glimpse patterns that transcend individual existence. These are more than communal celebrations. They are spiritual reconnections, moments when humans, spirits, and ancestors stand before one another in mutual recognition and promise. Markets are also spiritual extensions of this realm. When women gather to trade agrarian harvest or handcrafted goods, their transactions echo ancestral barter. Each sale, each thankful prayer, honors age's lineage and keeps abundance circulating through the community. Together, feminine leadership, ritual knowledge, and economic action assert that the marketplace is also a sacred space where prosperity, ancestral blessing, and social trust converge. In choosing crops, naming newborns, or settling disputes, people consult diviners in earthly shrines. These mediators interpret spirit presence, whether ancestral message, animal omen, cosmic sign. Rituals accompany these consultations. Sheep or chicken may be sacrificed, comfrey or sacred leaves used to cleanse, spiritual chants recited behind reed screens. The mediator becomes a channel for ancestral intention, translating voice of the land into direction for daily conduct. This realm is alive with memory. Every trail trod, every grove honored, every drum beat and honored sacrifice forms part of a living covenant with unseen powers. It is a covenant that thrives in silence and song, in daily obligation as much as ceremonial spectacle. Because earthly faith is lived faith, it shapes every facet of belonging. Returning home is not merely returning to a house, it is coming back to a sacred ecology where loved ones sleep and spirits watch. Hospitality becomes ancestral obligation. Welcome the guest and honor tradition. Close your gates and disturbance may follow. In this realm, community and land intertwine. You cannot honor one without honoring the other. To encounter the earthly realm is to remember that spirituality does not demand removed contemplation, but engaged stewardship. It is a call to honor not only the ancestors who birthed us, but the land that sustains us, the water that reflects our souls, the rhythms of nature that guide our lives. In remembering this realm, we discover that humanity is not above nature and spirit, but interwoven with them, alive in a cycle of giving, receiving, and honoring the unseen. We enter the underworld realm, a place not of punishment, but of transformation, memory, and unfinished storylines. Beneath the veil of daily life lies an unseen domain where souls pause, reflect, or wander according to the rituals or neglect that followed their passing. This realm stretches beyond simplistic notions of hell or paradise. It is an ancestral vault where reflection occurs, debts are reconciled, and spirits linger in tension between worlds. Indifference or neglect can tether souls, not in torment born of divine wrath, but through incomplete passage, ancestral confusion, or broken ritual. Here the ghosts of forgotten ancestors roam, yearning for recognition, rebirth, or resolution. At the crossroads of fate and memory stand spiritual guardians like Eshu, also known as Legba, the liminal deity who holds keys to opening and closing doorways between realms. In Congo cosmology, Kalunga spirits guard the threshold, holding the balance between life's streams and the ancestral vault. Through this gate walks Anubis, in Egyptian lore, weighing hearts against the feather of Ma'at, an echo reminding that earthly deeds shape the afterlife. These guardians do not condemn but accompany. They shepherd souls, offer guidance, and oversee the transition of spirit states. They stand as sacred thresholds between worlds, awaiting those who come seeking ancestral wisdom or spiritual balance. Once a person dies, their journey among these realms varies according to ritual, remembrance, and lineage. If proper rites are performed, a soul may rest comfortably among ancestors, returning again to the living as kin reborn. But souls whose burial is neglected, or those who die of violence, injustice, or exile, may linger. They move in shadow, influencing family life with sorrow, misfortune, or haunting messages. Spiritual debts, owed through unfulfilled obligations, broken promises, or communal failure, keep these spirits tethered. To ignore this realm is not to escape spiritual accountability, but to allow imbalance to spread, affecting individual wellness, kinship ties, and cosmic harmony. To navigate this realm, communities rely on ritual specialists, priests, shamans, or diviners, who journey inward through trance, possession, or ritual enactment. Through sessional Egungun masquerades, dedicated initiates don ancestral masks and costumes of cloth and personal relics embodying deceased elders. They dance, speak, counsel, and rebuke, allowing families to converse with ancestral voices. Each mask worn is a memory reactivated, each gesture a corridor open to ancestral counsel. In trance or possession, spirit mediums may become voices of the dead, delivering revelations or reconciling conflict with living heirs. Their bodies become vessels, relocating souls toward peace or forgiveness. Possession rituals unveil ancestral presence, demanding respect and offering reconciliation. Diviners may carve spirit boards or use palm nuts and cowrie shells to interrogate unseen powers, seeking to learn a lost ancestor's name, purpose, or will. Song, dance, and rhythmic drumming serve as spiritual tools to guide the soul back toward resolution, or to drive away shadowed energies causing sickness or spiritual clog. These rituals are not theatrical spectacles, but are lived expressions of spiritual necessity. They restore moral geography disrupted by death, anger, or abuse, enabling resolution within families and communities. Journeys into the underworld often hold transformative power. We encounter initiates who descend into dark nights of the soul, metaphorically and literally, seeking cures for deep-seated trauma, soul loss, or ancestral blockage. Through guided ritual, they may encounter luminous ancestral beings who offer wisdom, healing, or instruction. These are not fairy tales but experiential encounters. A person may emerge with renewed purpose, unexpected memory, or altered identity. They become bridges between worlds, embodying knowledge from places beyond ordinary sight. They bring closure for others and transform broken connections into living ancestral ties. The underworld realm is therefore not a place to fear, but a spectrum of sacred depth. It is a repository of memory where souls rest, return, or require restoration. It is a workshop of spiritual justice, where neglect is attended to and debts are repaid, not through fear, but through ritual responsibility. When a community walks this realm, they gather broken lives to wholeness. They recover stolen lineage, reaffirm ancestral connection, and reroot themselves in cosmic balance. Yet this realm reminds us that the unseen is never absent. It is simply invited or forgotten. When a child dreams of an ancestor calling them home, when a healer is possessed mid-ceremony, when a family undergoes sudden misfortune after a grave is desecrated. These are not coincidences, but portals opening into the underworld's conversation with the living. To enter this realm is to honor the cycle of life, death, and return. It is to admit that memory matters, that ancestors speak, that spirits wait. In this descent, we learn that African cosmology entrusts transformation to spiritual processes rather than doctrinal fear. The underworld is where accountability meets reckoning, where ancestral guidance heals lineage, where memory bathes wounds. It is the final stranger to be known, the unspoken conversation written in bone, dream, and ritual. It is the realm of the deep, calling us to complete the pathways of belonging, so that when life ends, passage begins. When stories stretch, healing flows, and when death releases, ancestral wholeness prevails. At the threshold of the closing segment, the viewer is invited to witness the sacred convergence of all three cosmic realms, the celestial heights, the earthly plane, and the ancestral underworld, woven together in a living ecosystem of spirit and meaning. In this universe, humans are not passive observers, but active mediators who bridge dimensions through ritual, prayer, drums, song, offerings, and remembrance. Embodied priestesses, diviners, shamans, ritual elders, and elders of lineages hold the keys to these portals, traversing realms both visible and unseen. Their movements, chants, and ceremonies are pathways that draw heaven's decree into earth, summon ancestral counsel from the depths, and echo back the power of nature spirits. In this sacred weave, the supreme deities, the dynamic earth spirits, and the ancestral ancestors do not stand apart. They breathe together, in rhythm with every intentional human act. By evening's close, drums and chants are rarely just entertainment. They are inter-realm summons. A clap of thunder during an offering to Sango merges with a river's eddy, folding offerings of libation into ocean's watery presence. A disguised dancer in masked dance becomes temporarily possessed, reminding the watchers that ancestral vessels still carry ancient wisdom. A spine-tingling trance vision in a seance can reflect both ancestral illumination and celestial revelation. The three realms do not merely exist side by side, they flow through each other. Earth invites sky, sky honors earth, underworld calls us home, and back again. Each realm exists because the others do. Descent without ascent is fragmentation. Ascent without descent is flight without roots. Within this ecosystem of spirit, cosmic harmony depends not on theological consensus, but on ritual coherence. Humans enter this sacred ecosystem through offerings, each one a vow. A handful of white cloth and smoke becomes a covenant with sky gods, carrying human petitions into the wind. Water poured on riverbanks honors ancestors and nature guardians at once, sustaining life and lineage in synchronous praise. A drumming circle at night releases energies encoded in ancestral ritual patterning, reinstating cosmic order one beat at a time. Every gesture holds meaning. It is as though each ritual stroke carries oxygen to a spiritual body spanning realms. The rhythm of this living cosmology reshapes identity. No longer merely individuals, people become nodes of sacred conversation. Their dreams carry messages not just from God or the dead, but from river guardians, sky guardians, and ancient kings. Their songs bear the echo of elemental storms, ancestral trial, or cultural covenant. A farmer planting yams honors earth spirits and ancestors simultaneously, seeking cosmic consent for both fertility and balance. A chief enacts justice not through political edict alone, but standing as custodian of ancestral contract drawn by earth spirits and sky deities. Sacred expertise arises in those who hold multidimensional authority. Diviners read cosmic alignments in cowrie shells, priests chant skyborn blessings at dawn, mediums become ancestral vessels by dusk, and elders knit it all together through memory and counsel. This interconnection also teaches surrender to seasonal cycles, ancestral legacies, and natural law. Humans come to know that they are not masters of these forces, they must learn cohesion with them. Breaking ritual patterns invites cosmic feedback. Drought, illness, famine. Repairing ritual neglect restores prayer-fed rain, harmony in kin, and healing in the land. Rituals become mechanisms of repair, restoring balance between realms via gesture, word, and silent communion. They create spiritual membranes that glow with meaning, permitting passage of grace and ancestral decree. In this sacred ecology, the cosmos is not an abstract, formless expanse, but a relational matrix of reciprocal participants. People do not pray at the realms but within them, carrying meaning between realms, inheriting it, reshaping it, and passing it on. The full measure of life, death, prosperity, illness, wisdom, conflict, regeneration, all are forged in the crucible where these realms meet. Living in this deep worldview becomes an invitation to stewardship within a cosmic conversation. Every action radiates outward, planting yams, singing ancestral chant, taking both bread and drum flame. In this economy, power is never one-sided. It is given and received, received and returned. A sovereign is not sovereign alone. They stand with sky, earth, and ancestor at their backbone. The viewer takes away the resonance of sacred reciprocity. Heaven beckons, earth responds, ancestors witness, and humans stand between them, offering song, prayer, and memory. To live in African cosmology is to wear all three realms lightly, as stages, as classrooms, as ancestors. It is to know that speaking is a prayer, walking a pilgrimage, dreaming a conversation. In this truth, the realms breathe together, and so do we. As the final embers of ritual glow, and the last drumbeat dissolves into the stillness of night, we return to the center of the circle where the journey began. The voice of the narrator softens, deepens into reverence, and offers a closing reflection that lingers like incense in sacred air. Nothing truly dies, it moves from one realm to another. These words are not just an ending, but a summoning. They affirm that in African cosmology, every breath, every step, every memory echoes across realms. Life is not a single stage, but a sequence of thresholds, where sky meets earth, where earth opens to the ancestors, and where the ancestors return again through dream, blood, and spirit. Viewers are invited to carry this sacred geometry into their own lives. Listen to the land, for it remembers your name. Honor the sky, for it shaped your breath. And remember the dead, for they walk behind you, beside you, within you. These are not ancient metaphors to be admired from a distance. They are living instructions. Let the trees speak. Let the thunder teach. Let the dream become a door. In doing so, you align with a wisdom older than empire, deeper than scripture, and more intimate than blood. And then, in the final moment before the screen fades, the narrator poses one last question, not for answers, but for remembrance. Which realm whispers to you when the world goes quiet? It is a question that stirs the bones, asking each soul watching to identify their place in the great weave of cosmos and community. With the music softening into ancestral hum and firelight dimming into twilight shadow, the viewer is left with a sense of sacred completeness. This is not the end of a story, it is the beginning of return. A quiet invitation follows, spoken gently but with purpose. Subscribe if you seek sacred truth. Comment which realm calls your name. Share this journey with those ready to remember. The video ends, but the calling remains. The realms still speak, and now perhaps you will too.